People over here, real quick before we get into all the stuff, you can use the promo code BobbyFi for 20% off everything at BetQL, and give us the thumbs up, the like, and all that stuff. We keep doing these shows for free, and all we're doing is giving the free information away. Sheets, another big night. Let's go.
Dude, well, tell me about it. Tell me, it's funny because when you said I have a shot, I'm like, all right, let me check this, let me check the 777. And then I looked, I didn't see, not really. I mean, what's going on?
Not too bad.
No, but I was looking, what could be? I'm like, what are you in? And he like the 4 max. Ooh, let me check that out. And so, it was one of those, it almost felt like an NBA slate because you had 4 guys that are already locked, they're already done, right? They had their scores, and 4 other guys or whatever that hadn't started yet. So like you knew like where you were sitting and what you needed, and you were able to kind of like have a nice full easy sweat because you knew exactly where everything was. It was kind of all in front of you, and you had a couple of San Francisco guys ready, and with there's a little bit of shakiness for like 5-6 innings, and then I'm like, okay, if he gets, maybe he could squeak up for second maybe or something, and then Bart hit a triple, and I'm like, ooh, if he rooted against him yesterday, he rooted for him today. All right, that'll do it, right? And I'm about to pack it in, and then you're like, yeah, just too few at bats or whatever it is. Like, yeah, it's too bad. Now I'm like, wait a minute, Belt is coming up in like a second. I'm like, if I'm not mistaken, I was like looking at this. I'm like, it's possible that if he gets a single and an RBI, Bobby wins, right? I'm like, yeah, but maybe not. Maybe he needs a double or something. He hit a single, guy scored. I'm like, is that enough? And then it said 0.3, win by 0.3. And then again, as usual, because I'm used to. What I'm used to doing? I'm used to like the NBA and also looking at at the lobbies of all these game stacks, and I'm worried about kind of coming up to get me right when I'm in first. So when I scroll down, I'm like, and look, first of all, good news that it wasn't a tournament with 10 billion people in it, right? So you only have to scroll down a little while.
More importantly, Sheets, on that, it's a 4 max. Nobody's playing more than 4 entries, so the opportunity for someone to be way off the board is very minuscule on a massive slate. And that's why I felt extremely confident going into the final games, because you didn't need much. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I told you pre-show, like what a bizarre thing. Because I'm partly kicking myself, almost hoping the lineup doesn't win, because it was the first lineup I built for the 777, which was 100K for first, and that's a huge difference, obviously. Yeah. But it would have come in fourth, and it would have been 10K versus 20K. So I actually won more money by keeping it in this lineup.
There you have it.
You had 4 max, and you can play different things in these strategies. Anyway. It feels great. I think we're on the heater. We've been looking for baseball just in the nick of time right before it ended. And what are we going to give the people today and tell them how to make all the money?
Well, we got the showdown in football.
Yep.
And we got baseball. We're not going to do football today, right? We're not going to do the NFL slate.
We don't have a showdown in basketball?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Oh,
look at that.
A little Lakers action, right?
Okay, I keep forgetting. I had the football prepared, but I didn't have the basketball prepared, so I'll have to kind of do that one on the fly.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. All I can say, that one thing that I think that people should pay attention to about this from a DFS standpoint about the Laker game, and I guess we may as well just touch on that real quick, just to start it off, because it wasn't really the focus of our show. But again, I like Denver to win this game. I'm pretty adamant about this. You thought it was going to be a sweep. I look at these teams play, and I see the better team as the Nuggets. I see it every time. And I see that the 2 best players by a million miles. Well, actually, not by a million miles, but LeBron is the best player in the world anytime he wants to be, from what I've seen. And I have more respect for him than I've ever had, him doing it at this age and all the things. But when I look at these teams, I don't see the Nuggets having any reason to surrender, to be afraid, to have nothing to lose, and they have more depth. They're more skilled at every position outside of 2, and that goes 10 deep. That's incredible stuff, and I think you're getting an edge, and I actually think that Vegas was a little sharper today and not making this like an 8-point spread like they did the other day. This is a spot where I think the Nuggets and the points make a lot of sense. I don't think the Nuggets win this series. I'm not saying they're going to win the game tonight, but you're getting the right odds for them to bet on them, in my opinion.
What's the spread? The spread line?
The spread is 6 points, 6.5, as opposed to, I think it was 8.5 the other day. And it's bizarre to me that after a game winner buzzer beater, that they were 8.5-point favorites. I remember saying that the other day. And you had the take that they were going to get swept, and I understand it. But I'm very close to this Laker team. And also, I don't like this Laker team particularly. We've talked about this before. And I'd like to like this Laker team. I've actually got a lot of people who follow me, who love me because I'm an LA guy and all the stuff. They hate me now because I don't love this Laker team. But I'm seeing what's in front of my eyes. And what I see is two spectacular, incredible, beyond like otherworldly level of basketball players. And then I see a team that goes 10 deep, and any of those 10 can be the guy that leads you to a win. You just don't know who it's going to be.
So who do you like in showdowns day?
So in showdowns, I think that the thing you want to do is try and get the exposure to the most variance. So you remember last time, Sheets, I actually nailed my biggest take, which unfortunately didn't quite back up on my own play, but was that I thought that for some at bizarrely low ownership, even at projected at the time at 37 minutes, although he's only projected for 32 minutes today, is Jeremy Grant.
Yep.
And I think that we are going to get too low of ownership again. He will not play as well as he did the other night. He will not be the offensive force that he was the other night. I think there's a lot of minutes upside for him. I think that this 32 could become 40. I saw Denver doing something with Malone that I was so impressed with that he finally – mostly I was just impressed he finally made the adjustment. You know, you're a basketball coach.
Yeah.
But he made the freaking adjustment, and he said, okay, when LeBron's on the court, I'm just locking him up with Jeremy Grant, and that's the answer to that story. It doesn't mean that it's going to lock him up. Doesn't mean LeBron's not going to go nuts. But that's the end of the story. You know what's going to happen now. So I feel like Jeremy Grant has the LeBron minutes, basically. And I feel like you're getting 32 minutes when it could really be 40. You're going to get lower ownership than you should. The only problem with he sort of would naturally like contradict my favorite like overall GPP plays. I still think Michael Porter Jr. has a monster game at some point, and I would love to get him at lower ownership today. So like Jeremy Grant and Michael Porter Jr., not as a captain or anything like that, but if you're starting your teams, I would start with those guys in Caruso and then figure out what you can do. My preference would be Jokic as captain. I know it's going to be chalky. I think he's the best play as captain. I don't mind either Laker guy, and I don't mind Jamal Murray at all. But I think Jokic is the best captain for this specific game. Now, I know the matchup's worse for him than Murray, but I think that he's just a better – it's really hard for him to not be near the top of the guys. And honestly, like I just feel like it's 50 to 80 fantasy points on layaway. Now, you can say that about AD and LeBron. You're not really getting any ownership discount, and I would rather take the team that's going to focus and run everything through one guy unless Jamal Murray gets crazy hot again, which is totally possible. But instead of making Jamal Murray a priority tournament play, I would make him a priority – he's more of a cash game play than he's ever been, and he's less of a tournament play. I want to say he played incredibly efficiently. Jamal Murray was the best player on the court in game 3, in my opinion. I don't think it was even that close, to be honest, even as well as LeBron did at times. I thought Jamal Murray was just by far the best player on the court. And that's a lot to ask for. The guy only took 17 shots, and he put up 70 or 62 fantasy points. I think I might take the fade Jamal Murray route today, even though it scares me because I could see him giving the Lakers trouble. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, just kind of building kind of on the fly here. That's where I kind of ended up with fading fading Jamal Murray actually. But what I did, it's funny, the pricing is a little. It's hard to say it this way. The pricing's a little tight. But you say that because you want to get all these guys, right? You want Jamal Murray, you want Jokic, you want Davis, you want LeBron. Obviously, you can't get all of them, so you are going to have to.
I think specifically don't want those guys. Like you don't want all four. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you can't get them anyway, so it's a difference.
Sure. Well, no, fair enough. Actually, you can, and there is a route to doing that if you wanted to go that route. But the thing is, Jamal Murray's fantasy points have enough variance to where I think that's a mistake. I'm just going to say that's just my personal take. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's where I would land on this. That you're better off hoping that Porter, Grant, Jokic, these other nothing things. So if I'm building one lineup right now, for example. The first thing I'll do is put Jokic as captain. I want to get LeBron and AD in, and then we can figure out what to do with $0 left.
What I did, well, it's just funny. What I did, and the only reason I'm not really putting this in is because it's completely zeros at the salary. I mean, a lot of people have this. I put Grant in the captain, And I won't fill the whole thing out, but I mean, you could get, I'll say LeBron, Jokic, and Porter, and then you could get two decent guys as your last two also if you want to do that. And likewise, I guess you could do the opposite. You could put Porter in the captain and do the same type of thing.
I love this idea of Porter potentially as the captain. He's the only person I could see being the right play, because here's the issue with playing the other guys at captain. One of Torrey Craig, Gary Harris, JaVale McGee, Mason Plumlee, one of these guys gets 15 fantasy points. And while it doesn't sound like much, if one of them gets 15, you're going to basically need them to win a tournament. I know it sounds really weird, but you do. And you know what, Sheets? It's the time. You know what maybe the right solution is for everything? Maybe we just say, F it all, play the chalk, and let's go back to PJ Dozier. Nobody knows what Malone's going to do with his rotations. He doesn't know what he's going to do. If they see a matchup, they see something sticking out. This guy played 14 minutes in game 2. He played 12 minutes in game 1. He didn't play the last game, and he was on the court in the fourth quarter, both of those first 2 games, in meaningful spots. It was situational, it was circumstantial, and it was that Morris was playing out of his mind the other night. But are we saying that PJ Dozier couldn't possibly squeak back in? Why not?
How did Gary Harris do?
He was terrible, but he played a ton of minutes.
Well, who do you like to? You know what?
I love Gary Harris and Alex Caruso.
You know what? You laid it out. So who do you? So between Mason Plumlee, Torrey Craig, and PJ Dozier of the 2,200 guys or 2,000. Actually, PJ Dozier is 1,000.
Yeah.
Which one of those? I mean, like you said, maybe you should make sure to play one of those 3 in all your lineups.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting behind this. The weird part is that Gary Harris, if he doesn't get a ton of ownership, is a huge mistake. There's nothing more secure than this guy's minutes tonight. He will play until he fouls out of the game, unless there's some fluky second-tier run or whatever, which is what happened in game 2. But they weren't going to let that happen again. Game 3, he played 32 minutes, which, by the way, I think is like his floor for minutes in this game. I think Gary Harris, without fouling out, I think he's you want to get him, Caruso to start with, and then you have to figure out at least 2 of the big 3, maybe all 3 of the big 3. But the problem is if you want to do 2, you probably want to do 2 of the big 3 and then middle it out in the other 2 spots. Does that make sense?
You like I forgot who you just mentioned. You like Caruso better than like Danny Green?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so as a Laker fan, it's sort of an ongoing joke, like when are they going to just stop playing Danny Green? He's actually much better than in real life than like people give him credit for, because he plays really good defense. He communicates on defense. He switches. This Laker team doesn't need him to go out there and score fucking 20 points. You know what I mean?
Right.
Danny Green is doing just fine. KCP, I thought, has played extremely well in the series, like really, really well. But I want to go back to Caruso. I think you might get basically the same ownership. I think he's more of a lock to play some minutes. And I feel like I just want to say, like, Caruso's been he's averaged, 16 fantasy points a game in this series or whatever it is. And he's taken a total of 16 shots in 3 games. He doesn't need to shoot the ball. He doesn't need to do things. He's going to get some steals. He's going to get some assists. He's going to get a rebound or 2. He does enough at such a cheap price that I think he's the guy. The only part that I'm worried about is, like, maybe we need to prioritize one of the Laker bigs over either a KCP. And I don't know. I'm sort of thinking about a bunch of different things, but I think there's an upside still for the Lakers bigs that we haven't seen in this series. And Dwight's the one who stands out a little more. I hate him so much, and the way that he's been has been disgusting and made this team hard to watch for me. But he's actually played well, and I'm sort of surprised he hasn't played more minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if Dwight all of a sudden out of the blue put up 30 fantasy points. I really wouldn't. So
more than McGee, huh?
So Dwight Howard's just a much better player than JaVale McGee. It's the only hard thing for me to go on it. McGee might get the opportunity. They like him better. He's a better person by all accounts, and that's why he plays more. Really, that's the truth. That's where we're at in 2020. But Dwight Howard is better basketball player. And Dwight Howard is still one of the best 5 or 6 post defenders in the league. To not have him in for more minutes against Jokic, if somehow the Lakers were to lose this series, that's going to be the biggest thing they look back to. And they'll say, wow, we had Dwight Howard as basically on a minimum salary who can guard every big man in the league. And what the hell are we doing by not playing him more minutes? So my thinking is that maybe he goes that way.
A couple of games ago, you were talking about maybe playing Kuzma. Do you like him?
So I love Kuzma as a long shot tournament play. I feel very disheartened with. I guess I personally, it's funny is I think that Vogel is an awesome coach. I'm tired of people knocking him or it's LeBron's team, all this and that. Vogel, I think, is awesome. But I mean, the Lakers have different options and there's different places they could go. So I kind of understand it, but it's also like, I don't know. It's weird to me. I guess what I would say is that it's weird to me that Kuzma hasn't had the Kuzma game. I was expecting him to have a game where he's, 7 or 12 from the floor, or 7 of 15 even. He takes a bunch of shots, and he somehow ends up with like 17 or 20 real life points and 30 fantasy points. Doesn't seem that far fetched, but we've seen nothing to show us that it's going to happen.
Who do you like more between LeBron and AD in showdown tonight?
Always AD for me in this series. What's weird is that you could argue. So let me rephrase that. When it's a must win, it's always LeBron.
Okay.
But in this particular case, while it's a semi-ish must win, and LeBron was much better in the last game, maybe you get a little bit of a discount on AD. He's also a little bit cheaper. It's freaking close, man. I don't know. I'm struggling with that one myself, and I think that my simple answer is just going to be probably to try and play them both. The problem is you can't really do that with Jokic and Porter, so I might have to get rid of Porter. Yeah,
so I'm gonna play 5 lineups, and 3 of them are gonna have LeBron. I'm not gonna play both. Three of them are gonna have LeBron, and 2 of them are gonna have AD.
I like it,
and we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, well let's move on to the next thing, shall
Football?
we? Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my lineups built in as we go here because I'm a little behind. I'm on a vacation right now, which was totally separate from the winning, by the way. It's not because I've just been on a little hot streak and I decided, okay, I'm just going to get out of town. My girlfriend came to visit. It's a friend of ours' 60th birthday, and I'm down here with my other friend Kenny, who his mother turned 60, and we're we have a big group down here, and it's a nice time in San Diego.
Yeah, so as usual with these showdowns, it's really, especially in football, it's really important to create a game flow and create an approach to the game, how you think the game is going to go, and then you could tailor your showdown lineups to suit that. So since this is for BetQL, I mean, I guess we should talk about the game because I actually do have an opinion on this.
Let's go.
Yeah, I really like Miami a lot in this spot.
You love Miami this year. I can feel it.
Well, you know what? Brian Flores is a really good coach. All right, he's just been, he's been dealt a bad hand, man. Like they just haven't given him players. Last year they had every reason, not every reason. Like people were saying, oh, Miami's going to start tanking, and Flores wanted like nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? They try every freaking game. They also have 2 really good corners. I mean, like they're really just not bad. And I think Jacksonville, I mean, like they've been better than I thought. But I don't know, like maybe it's instinct or whatever it is. But I think Miami comes out here and really, really puts a whipping on them. So now with that said, right? Again, I don't have to be right, but that's my opinion. So with that said, the way I'm going to probably deal with this is I'm going to play 5 Miamis, and I'm going to play 1 Jacksonville. I'm going to play the skill guys from Miami, and I'm also going to play the Miami defense and run it back with just 1 Jacksonville guy, and that's probably what I'm going to do. But we can go ahead and talk about some of this Jacksonville stuff because it's kind of interesting with Shark. He makes things kind of weird. You know what I mean? But just again, my opinion on the Miami guys are just the normal guys. You have Fitzpatrick, Parker, Gesicki, and Preston Williams. Like those are I think that's where most of the, if not all of the usage is going to go, right? So that's where I'm at on the Miami side.
Okay, so we absolutely have to play James Robinson, right?
No,
Why?
because he's going to be really popular, and I
First of all,
don't think.
like little geniuses that we are, you and I both played him last week, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I've had 40% of him, and I loved him.
I had 15% of him, and we're on a one-game slate, and we're talking about fading him.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it, Sheets. I love it.
Well, I'll tell you this. I will tell you this. That in one of my lineups, Jack, I have 5 different builds. One of them has Robinson as the run back. One of them has Chenault. The other one's got Keelan Cole, and the other one after that's got Keelan Cole. Oh no, Shark is out now.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't understand. Why? That's
Oh shoot! If he were in, I'd be more into it, man. Because
what about this incredible opportunity not to play any receiver from them?
I would have played I would have played a decoy narrative and played these guys anyway.
I'm totally with you on that. I would have preferred it. That's why I'm saying, like, maybe the answer though is just don't play any of the watch. Like, what sucks is that it's really weird to say this because I like Minshew the best of any player on the slate.
Well, then you play Keelan Cole, no?
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't even think that's the right answer. I think the right answer is probably more Chenault, but I actually like the idea of going. So what's interesting about what you said, first, I want to say one thing about both these teams. I think they're both better than everybody talks about them being.
Fair enough.
And I think Jacksonville especially I think Miami's probably the more talented team without a doubt, I would say they are.
But you think Jacksonville's sneaky?
This Jacksonville team
okay.
So much better. I think Minshew is so much better than I don't think it's like even like a hot take or whatever. I think that Gardner Minshew is a good quarterback. It's like a better. You know what's funny? He reminds me of a better version of his little opponent tonight in Fitzpatrick. He's like a better, younger version with more skills, but with the same sort of mentality with Fitzpatrick. And I love this guy. I just can't get enough of him. The problem is I'm not excited about these. Chenault would make the most sense from the Jacksonville side as a receiver, but I'm not excited about any of these guys except for Jesus, man. I really don't feel good. You could play Keelan Cole. I don't feel good, or like it's safe. Maybe the answer is playing Tyler Eifert.
Yeah, he's another one that I have in my run backs.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to do any of that, I mean, and you could play Chris Thompson.
That I love. So you could play. So what are we doing with the Miami running part of this exactly? Because that's the part that's hard. Is I want to play Chris Thompson when I have an opposing running back that I feel like can try and take over a game. Do we play Gaskin? Do we treat Gaskin like he's that guy? I mean, the guy got literally 7 carries and 9 carries the last 2 weeks. He did have 7 targets and I mean, I just am trying to figure out who the Miami running back is supposed to even be. Is it Jordan Howard? Is it Gaskin? I mean, I guess it's Gaskin, right?
But I don't even know. Do you need that even? I mean, can't you just do what I want to do? Can't you just go Fitzpatrick with Gesicki, Williams, and Parker, and then just blast them?
Yeah, you could. I think that you probably still want some part of the running game if you're playing the going to beat the hell out of them narrative.
Yeah.
Personally, I do. Like, just in general, but again, I don't like the running game that much, so maybe this is the time where you don't pass, you know?
Yeah.
Either way, I'm starting to come more and more around to the James Robinson, I know he might be popular, but I think him and Minshew are neck and neck for who's your captain on DraftKings.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Do Bills ever win where I don't say ever, but when the captain of you have a captain of one team and everybody else from another team?
You know, in basketball they do.
Okay.
In football, it's a little trickier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than your running back, you really don't have anybody else to carry you. And even if your running back goes off, usually it's a good sign for the defense.
Okay.
But anyway, I think I'm starting my lineups with Minshew and Robinson. I think that honestly, I think Miami's out of their mind for not playing Tua as soon as possible. But I do love Fitzpatrick in general. I think Fitzpatrick would be like my favorite backup quarterback in the NFL, but probably shouldn't be starting.
Okay.
All right, so here's what I'm getting into. I'm getting into the other side of it. I'm getting into Minshew and not knowing who I want to pair him with. I know I want Gesicki in this game.
Okay.
I know I want. I mean, theoretically, I would like Devontae Parker, but I think I'll just side with the Gaskin carries, and honestly, they work out of the passing game. What if we play James Robinson and Chris Thompson?
Yeah, why not?
That seems like, I mean, in a big buy-in, I'm going to do this. And by the way, Chris Thompson, in my opinion, I don't think there's anybody even close on this slate who's going to compare to Chris Thompson, right? Like, you're going to get reasonably lowish ownership for a guy who's going to probably have he's going to 4x his salary. Nobody else in this do I feel comfortable saying he's going to 4x their salary. He's the only person I feel comfortable saying he's going to do it. No good?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay. All right. So my bizarre lineup right now, but this will be different, is Minshew with Robinson and Thompson. And then you have the Miami guys. Tell you what, people are doing that one. All right.
What I would definitely do, by the way, is if you're going to play Thompson, play Thompson with lineups that leave like 2,000 on the table.
Because he's so obvious.
Yeah.
But what if you play him? But I don't think people are going to play him and Robinson with Minshew as the captain at all.
That's very possible.
But maybe I'm giving people too much credit. Like, it's such a bad game. It's such a bad play. I'm thinking no one can do it. But maybe it's just a bad play.
Like they say, so crazy it just might work.
It's so crazy it might work. All right, you ready to get into some baseball? We actually got a few coming in. Hey, Jamie, thanks for a lot for the congrats. I feel good. I feel like it's been really frustrating for a little bit with baseball because I feel like the plays have been right a lot of nights, and fortunately, some people have taken advantage of it. I haven't been, and I feel really good about making the right plays and things working out in my favor, I guess, is all I can say. Jordan Howard is super interesting, but I think that I'm going to fade him tonight. I think he's probably a better play than Gaskin. Well, he has more touchdown equity. Gaskin has more upside, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at.
But Jordan Howard will definitely get the ball down the goal line, no?
You'd think he would get it more than that. Yeah. So if I'm playing two lineups, Jordan Howard should be in one, but I think Gaskin would be in the other. I don't think you need. I'm not saying you need to play Miami guy, the running backs, but I think that's probably how it would go today. And I really like this Chris Thompson and the double James Robinson.
How about the three running backs in the same lineup together?
Ooh, all three, huh?
Well, I mean, you have Gaskin and Thompson and the other one and Robinson.
Wait, all three? Yeah, I like all three running backs, but they're all two different sides. Yeah, I think you meant
not the same team. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I was like, oh no, I mean, Sheets. That might have been like I was like ready to be.
No, I'm not that mad scientist. I mean, that's for somebody else.
We'll leave that to me on a drunken day. Oh, this is the day. No, I'm kidding. All right. It's funny. I swear to God, it's Saturday, even though it's not. Do you want to talk a little baseball?
I'd love to talk baseball.
All right. This is going to be the more fun part. And by the way, I can say this. I used to be like I almost felt like a poser over the last month with baseball. I know I was right with my ideas, and at least the concepts were mostly right. There was flaws. I'm sure there was better things, and I could have done different, all that stuff. But I felt like an imposter a little bit because I was crushing the NBA at the same time and just getting my ass handed to me. And there's no real other way to say it in baseball. And then finally, I told you on Monday, we did a show and I said, Sheets, this is going to be my first losing baseball year ever. Well, I can safely say now that is not statistically possible anymore.
We got it back. We got it all back.
I'm going to end up at least a small winner if I lose every other bet on baseball the rest of the way, including the playoffs.
Excellent.
So I'm ending up a small winner for sure. So let's go.
All right. So you want to start? You want to start a pitcher?
Yep.
So I mean, for me, I guess it's a little not that much different. I like two pitchers more than the others on DraftKings. I like Burns and I like Bubic next.
Wow.
I like the other guys under that. I just like them secondarily, Javier and Lynn. On FanDuel, I like Lynn better. So I don't want to play Javier, I think, on FanDuel, although he's fine there at 7,400. So for me, it's going to be either Javier or Lynn. But actually, I get afford everything I want on FanDuel hitting-wise, so I'm going to probably play – I'm playing Lynn on FanDuel. But on DraftKings, for me, it's going to be Burns and Bubic, actually.
Yeah, pitching sucks. Anybody who feels good about your pitcher tonight, you're wrong, in my opinion. The only possible exception would be Bubic. He's the only guy. I just ran a few different things. If you play this game out a million times, he's almost always getting you teens plus in points. That's good enough for me, man. I'll take it. I don't like any of these other guys. I actually think, to be honest, even with the situation, I would never have played him on like last night's slate. There's no idea. But because he's going to be low owned and he's the best pitcher on the slate, why the hell aren't we just taking a shot with Walker Buehler? The odds are they're going to want him extended. And I'm taking the reverse argument of one that I've been making somewhat. I did play, by the way, Giolito was in my main lineup last night that I won that with, by the way. It was one of my weird little pivots. Not that I needed him necessarily. I could have used a number of different guys there. But it was an interesting, I played him with Bauer in that lineup, and it worked out well. I think Walker Buehler is the best pitcher on the slate, and I think he's absolutely worth gambling on. I think there's an outside chance that he dismantles the slate and you can't win without him.
That's interesting.
He's the best pitcher there's not even like another person who's in the same ballpark as him. So I'm gonna err on that side. And I also think that it is possible, but when people are gonna be afraid because they saw him pitch 2 2/3, that was an easy, okay, well, he's tightened up, we're worried about him and all this stuff. He hasn't pitched in a couple weeks. Don't you think they want to stretch him out for the playoffs? So for me, in my mind, if he's going out there starting tonight, I'm treating him as that he's gonna pitch 90 pitches plus.
That's interesting.
But I don't think I'm going lower. Like, I think it's 85 to 95. I don't think it's any higher. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And is that good enough? I think it is, by the way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought it up. And I think you're getting lower ownership. Now, I love – look, Lynch Lynn is a good pitcher and really, really good against righties. But when you have a chalky pitcher going up against Houston in Houston for a guy that's not, dazzling – there's something wrong. So let's play the Dodger guy. That's my personal take. Let's play the better pitcher. Or we can go to the young guy and Ian Anderson, who I love. And these are tournament-y guys. I mean, the obvious plays are Corbin Burns, Chris Bubic, to me. That's what I would be doing if I was just playing a cash game.
Is there rain issues in the Anderson game or no?
To be honest with you, did not check it all yet. It's on a small slate. I figured I would look later. Okay. Anybody else can weigh in and chat. I'm just, I don't want to give away stuff I don't know. I do want to say real quickly that there's a few things in chat before we keep going on this, because I think this is good stuff. I wanted to see, I thought there was a question I missed. He said on FD as well from Cody earlier. I don't know what he was referring to, but anything I say about DraftKings is appropriate to FanDuel as opposed to the showdown. In relation to the showdown slates today. I think you need to gamble on FanDuel. The guy I would make a priority is a guy like Jeremy Grant. On DraftKings, it's a little bit harder, but I would try to get Jeremy Grant, Michael Porter, or Paul Millsap into every lineup you make, no matter how you do it, and probably want 2 of those guys. Let's put it that way. And that was pretty much it for the other thing. I mean, look, I said all this stuff about Jokic, and it's hard to fit everybody in, but at the same time, you want someone who can break and win you a slate, take one of those guys. You know what I mean? Last night I had I think I finished in the top. I finished like 7th or something in the single entry in basketball. But it was all predicated on one very basic thing. I built a fairly chalky-ish lineup, but what I did was I played I played 4 guys at 20%, I think, in the lineup. And on a 1-game slate, that's like really contrarian. It's hard to do. So skip Tatum, play Jaylen Brown was the idea. Play Kemba when he's going to be low owned, play Dragic when he's going to be low owned. That's what I ended up doing. I'm trying to remember who the other ones were. But that's I think the attitude we want to approach these things with. Take the guys who can help us win something. And Jeremy Grant is one of those guys who can do it on minutes. Michael Porter can do it on production, and so can Paul Millsap on production. And Paul Millsap's minutes they might be 18 and they might be 35. Do with that with what you will. Anyway, let's get back to baseball. I just wanted to throw that stuff out there.
Yeah, no problem. You want to go to
Man, his pitching is weird, huh? Like I just feel like it's so obviously Bubic and Burns by so far that I'm just going to do something else.
Okay.
It's just such an obvious build to me, but I do like Javier too. I really like Javier. I actually think that maybe Javier and Buehler is probably your optimum combo. I don't think Javier carries a lot of risk, by the way. I don't think that there's any way he's getting less than double-digit points tonight, which I can't say that about. Even Bubic, who I like, I could completely make an argument for a Detroit stack as well, even though I like Bubic. Anyway.
Yeah, there are guys that are showing up as really good plays on Detroit. That you don't want to play, but
do we not?
I don't know. We're going to find out.
All right, let's go to some hitting positions then.
Well, if you're going to play Buehler, then you might want to.
I don't know, but it's not like I need to spend that much on him. He's only $10K. Like, it's not like
yes. It'd be $7,500 more than Bubic, for example.
No, of course, but I like Bubic. I don't think he's on the mean going to outscore Walker Buehler. I don't think they're like fair comparison. But I mean, he certainly could. I actually think the more I think about it, I just want to say that the more it's clear to me that Walker Buehler is the best tournament play on this slate. It's not even close. Like, you have the best pitcher at the seventh highest ownership, and he's also projected. How about just raw points for a second? He's actually projected to score the second most raw points. I have him projected to score the first by like 6. So I have him way ahead of where the field has him. And there's some variance involved in this. There's coming back. There's all these things, but he's just a better pitcher than everybody else is, and he's got a great matchup in terms of strikeouts. He might strike out he might end up only pitching 3 innings and strike out 8 guys, and end up paying off. Anyway, Sheets, we can move on to positions.
Catcher.
Okay, so. What do we say? Sheets always with catcher. It's the same rule every day. You can play the guys in your stacks, or you can pay up for so and so.
Yeah.
Roth actually was hammered yesterday doing the crunch time, and it was hilarious. It was great. It was terrific stuff. But he was totally hammered, talking about and he was calling out everything they were going to say before they said it. And I just thought it was like a great. I love our roto grinders and what they do, especially with their systems. It's incredible. I'll say a lot of things. I love BetQ. I love being over here. But nobody has better tools, in my opinion, for DFS specific than Roto Grinders. I know FanDuel has some argument. I know that there's a bunch of different sites that have like some argument in that conversation. But what they do is incredible. But Roth going off yesterday and calling out what the people would say before they said it, I thought was really cool. And it also goes to show you, we do this all the time where we think this is the way to go and this is the thing. Just the fact that somebody who doesn't know anything about baseball, doesn't like baseball, knows all that. And I know he does the shows every day. Shouldn't that tell us that maybe we should just be pivoting our thought process a little bit? That makes sense?
Yeah. I don't know exactly what you're talking about with what he did yesterday, but I guess that people were talking about tailoring catchers around your stacks, and then he was basically.
What he did is he started doing this thing. He was hammered, but he started doing this thing where he was going position by position. He goes, well, catcher, you're going to want to use it with your – and he was like joking because he asked Sheets – I'm sorry, he asked I said Sheets. He asks, Cheese or Tuttle, like their opinions, or whether it's Cardi on a certain night. But he always starts off with catcher going, all right, the answer is basic. You can pay up for it, and he'll pick the highest price catcher, or you can spend down with whatever in your stacks. And then he kept doing it with every position. And by the way, he was 100% right with what they would say. Now, if that's that obvious to someone, I guess my overall point is it's baseball. Let's do something different.
All right, well, for me, I don't know. Like for me, they're like just two catchers that just stand out. So what do I know? You want to have some fun? You want to tell me the 2 catchers that I think stand out?
Yeah, the ones you think stand out are Severino and I mean, it's hard not to like Salvador Perez coming off 2 home runs. I also think that you could say Will. I mean, I don't know. To be honest, there's actually a few good catchers. Will Smith is the other one who I thought of, and then Christian Diaz. All 4 of those guys would be the obvious place.
Yeah, for me, it would be Severino or Austin Romine from Detroit.
Okay, so that was not someone I expected you to say, but I love that call. I think that's actually like the perfect. Yeah,
well, as I was alluding to, I mean, you'll see that. I mean, I have a couple of other Detroit guys that are kind of showing up also. So Detroit could end up being like kind of like a secondary team for me.
If you don't play Bubic, I think that's the best way to go because you're also getting leverage and you're getting cheap plays. Yeah, man, I can get on board with this completely. And while it seems, everybody's always going to project incredible against Perez, this guy doesn't really get hit. So I like Severino, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where the chalk's going to be entirely because it's going to be spread between those 4 guys.
It's going to be Severino.
You think? Yeah.
Unless people back the Red Sox and use Vasquez.
This is going to be the night where Jorge Soler, who I've had at 2% the last couple nights, is going to get 2 home runs and he's going to be chalk. Shit.
And when Mondesi at 5K gets 30 fantasy points.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. All right, well, let's move over to first.
So, hey, don't shoot the messenger. But my top just raw value whatever play at first base is Miguel Cabrera from Detroit. And then there's like a whole bunch of guys at different price tags that all rate the same for me. One of them, by the way, being first base Candelario from Detroit, but also Freddie Freeman on the spend up. And then it's really just like a whole bunch of guys looking equal to me. So you want to play Dahlbeck from Boston, he can go in your stacks. Dozier from Kansas City if you want to do that. But there is a difference on FanDuel because what's his name? Ryan Braun is first base eligible, I think, on FanDuel.
Interesting.
I think so, as opposed to DraftKings.
Yeah.
And I like Ryan Braun a lot. So Ryan Braun on FanDuel for first base.
Okay, so this is going to start a long thing about it.
And Nunez at first base on FanDuel.
I don't know who's going to be in the Dodgers lineup tonight, but I'll just say at first my answer is yes. I don't know how else to put it. Honestly, I'm hoping for a Rios or something like that, and I can play then all 3 of Bellinger, Beatty, and Muncy. Rios, Bellinger, and Muncy. The Dodgers are – okay, so I just want to point out that Mike Fiers did in a similar type of situation 2 years ago, no-hit this team. This Dodger team is better, all the things. They also don't have a whole lot to play for at this moment. I'm really interested to see what the Dodger lineup is because I want all of it. And I think it comes out late enough today where maybe people are a little bit less on it because they might have reserved spots for guys like Bellinger, Muncy, Betts, and all this, and Seager. And I think probably a couple of those guys don't play. So it's speculative. It's too early in the day to know for sure. But in general, the answer to first base for me is Dodgers.
It's whoever starts the Dodgers.
It doesn't even matter where they're hitting. It doesn't matter who it is. There's not a person they could put at that position that I wouldn't want to play. The cool plays are the Boston guys. I think Chavis, in a righty-righty matchup if he gets in the lineup. I think he actually is in the lineup. I think he's the guy I would go with. I do like Boston a bit tonight. I honestly didn't mention this before. This is going to be really, really weird. Okay, it's a small slate, so I'm getting a little bit weird with it. I like both Alex Cobb and the Red Sox stack. So do with that what you will. I know it's bizarre. It makes no sense. The only way you could really play Cobb is probably if you play him with Bubic. I don't think you can expect him to outscore Bubic and Javier enough, so you play him with one of those 2 guys and hope that they outscore the other guy. It's a weird play, but I also like the Red Sox stack a lot. So basically my answer is Dodgers and Red Sox for first base.
Yeah, just so you know, again, the only reason I didn't mention them is I had them listed kind of in a different different part of my sheet. I had him as first base / outfield, so I forgot that he was eligible here. But I do like Chavis a lot actually, and also first base eligible is Mountcastle from Baltimore.
Do you think that maybe it's a mistake? And I know we haven't gotten to this yet. Just like my first thing, like it's a small slate, and they've burned everybody a million times, and they'll have 0 ownership tonight. Isn't it the time we should jump back onto the Houston stack?
Well, we're getting there. Don't worry about it.
I mean, bro, this is a huge like meta play where if we commit,
I don't even think it's going to be that meta. I mean, again, I thought it was kind of logical.
Okay, well, shows what I know.
Well, because also, I mean, because they're against what's his name, Lynn, right?
Yeah.
And Lynn's going to get all the ownership. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's logical. And the best is every once in a while these little league players can get a hit or two. So maybe one day Altuve,
these little league hitters who dominate the league and should have all VPs and rewards stripped away from them, but at the same time doesn't mean they're not a good stack tonight.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately, Sheets, by the way, I wish I would have gone with the mentality that other people had that was so narrow-minded. And it was like, oh, these guys just suck. They can't hit without this. If I just played that narrative all year long, there wouldn't even have been a question of whether I wanted baseball.
No.
Houston stacks alone, because of their prices, because of the way it's formatted, have cost me more money this year than any team. And by the way, they cost me – I lost money betting on them against them in the World Series twice. I lost money on them betting against playoffs twice. And I don't make these bets. I mean, big amounts of money. And I would like to have some of that money back. So I think that I'm a little stubborn here. Anyway, you ready to move on to second base?
Yeah. So speaking of which, FanDuel, so I happen to be staring at right now. Altuve is my best play there at second base.
Oh my god.
And then after that, the other guys that haven't gotten a hit from me ever. So Altuve and Odor, the 2 second basemen. These are like the 2 worst hitting teams in Major League Baseball. Okay, basically Houston and Texas. And if you don't like any of that, you can play Michael Chavis second base on FanDuel. On DraftKings, actually, I have better than Altuve. I have Alberto actually better on DraftKings. So I like Alberto, Odor, and Altuve. And the other team I like aside from Houston is Milwaukee. So I like Hura on both sides actually.
I like those calls. I really think this is the time to play Odor. 0 ownership. The price got hiked up. The power upside is still the same. I like Alberto better in terms of who was likely to score more fantasy points. If there's someone who's going to win you a slate, it's going to be Odor. Odor, Colton Wong would be my contrarian guys right off the bat because they're not going to be owned. Tommy Edman would be my other one. It's just to see that here's what's crazy about this slate. Jose Altuve is going to be the highest owned player at the position. Alberto will probably be second or third, and then it's going to be Goodrum. So you have 2 of the highest owned players are facing the 2 of the most popular pitchers. It's a weird slate. So I like the Houston thing in general, but I think I would try to fade Altuve here. And I would much, 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 much rather play the same guy who I say every day. Just play Ozzie Albies. If you're going to spend up at second base, what are we even talking about anymore? If it's Ozzie Albies or Brandon Lau, those are the only time you have an argument. Just play Ozzie Albies. You're getting double-digit fantasy points almost on layaway. This guy's on fire right now. He's put up he's averaging 22 over his 20 over his last 10 games. Like he's a smoke show, and he's not going to get owned. So play a ton of Altuve.
I'd like to say, by the way, that guys like Goodrum and these Detroit guys, they're not going to be popular at all. And the reason why,
you really think so?
Yeah, I do. And the reason why is I was doing this myself when I was hand building. You don't really need hitting salary saving. I mean, like if you unless you really want to just pound Walker Buehler, okay, you can. As a matter of fact, there was at one point on FanDuel I was struggling to even cap out my salary. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I think because of that, I don't think the Detroit guys are going to be really that popular. Just saying. So like your Walker Buehler lineups, I think are going to be really good. I do. So you want to go to third base?
Yeah, can I just say, is there a Dodger playing second base? Because that would be the answer just overall to any question tonight. And making things easier. And by the way, Sheets, as you know about me, I believe in fires. I also believe I don't want to get overly whatever. This Dodger team is legitimately an all-time great 1 through 17 lineup. Like they're legit. I don't know who's much better in literally the history of baseball. So I would just keep playing.
You think they're a World Series type team though? Remember, you only need 9.
Forget this. I don't care about the World Series. It means nothing. The best teams don't win. The Giants won a title when they had the 17th best record in the major leagues. The World Series, I'm tired of it. The Dodgers have had the best team at least 3 of the last 10 years, if not more.
Can't you make the argument though that if the goal is to win the World Series, you got to build your team, to be a World Series?
What are they supposed to do? They had the best starting pitching, the best relief pitching for 2 of the years, the worst manager. That part hurt. But really, really, like the best lineup. It's not their fault that they. It's a 4 out of 7, man. It's the dumbest measuring stick in the history of sports. It doesn't have anything to do with reality.
Damn. I was not waiting for this. I was not expecting.
I'm sorry. This is my oldest rant that I'm refiring now because I'm furious as a Dodger fan. And yeah, it does make it easier because I'm a Dodger fan, so I get to complain about this. But it's
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's completely nonsense. How can you tell me that in hockey where there's 80 games or basketball where there's 82 games, how can you tell me that you have to play a 4 out of 7 and all this stuff for every series? And then in baseball, not only do you only play a 4 out of 7, sometimes you play a 2 out of 3 and a 3 out of 5. That's insane. This is insane. This is not measuring who's the better team. It's measuring who got hot. The freaking Royals won a World Series with literally not one starter that would have been able to play on the Dodger team because they had a good bullpen, they got a good strategy and all that stuff. But also everything connected. The dots connected. They all just lined up. Same thing with San Francisco. It's a luck fest.
Very interesting.
Sorry. I believe in basketball, the best team wins. I believe in baseball, the best team almost never wins.
All right.
Third
base. I have 2 completely different price tiers. So I'm looking at DraftKings right now. There's Devers at 5,500 or Isaac Paredes at 2,500. Those are my 2 favorites. But I'll ask you a question. Is Justin Turner playing?
See, I certainly don't want to play. So all the Dodgers, but probably not Justin Turner for me.
Because on FanDuel, he's 3,100.
I honestly don't know where he's at from a real physical health standpoint. He doesn't look right to me. I think their priority is to get him to the playoffs, which means like you could see something weird like you saw last night where he had 3 at-bats, but he didn't get his 4th at-bat because they pulled him out of the game. So it's enough variance for me to just say, okay, let's just completely cross him off the list. I know that sucks, but we have other Dodgers we can play. We can play Muncy, Maybe we can play Rios if he's in the lineup. We'll see how it shakes out. So Dodgers number 1, no question about it. And again, by the way, I want to point this out. There is if I played 150 lineups tonight, 10% of them would have Mike Fiers as my starting pitcher because I'm so in love with the Dodgers. And every lineup will be stacked completely with Dodgers. But Mike Fiers, every now and then, will go out there and throw that weird no-hitter like he did against the same Dodger team a couple years ago. So that's my take. It's Dodgers at third base. And to be honest with you, I think that your best decision after that is skip all the medium ownership. Don't play Devers. Don't play Bregman. Don't play Christian Arroyo for cheap. Play Maikel Franco. Play Jed Jorko. Play Brian Anderson.
I like Jorko a lot.
This is a small slate. This is not a slate where we need to find the best home run guy in history. We just need to find the best play that day. And you know what? On top, the guy who I never play on big slates, and it's always wrong to, in my opinion, but is ideal for this slate, let's play Matt Carpenter.
I didn't even know he was still in the league. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but this is the point, though. He's going to be 1% owned on a 6-game slate, batting in the middle of the order against a pitcher that does have a high variance of outcomes, And he hit a home run 2 days ago. That's good enough for me.
Okay.
All right, ready to move on to short?
Shortstop.
Not even close.
What's that?
Not even close at short, I don't think. I really don't.
That's interesting.
I know that other people will. That's what's great. Everybody's going to play Mondesi and Bogarts because the spot is awesome. And by the way, I expect Mondesi to steal a base tonight.
I'm losing you. Get closer.
I would expect Mondesi to steal a base tonight. I want to say that very clearly. I truly believe that will happen. Corey Seager is going to hit a home run tonight if he plays.
Woo!
Corey Seager is my lock of the day for home runs. I have no problem paying 5.8K for him. I watch this guy's at bats, and I'm telling you right now, this guy is unlucky to only be hitting 320 and have the fourth most home runs in the league or whatever the hell it is. He is crushing the ball. Everything is hit on a direct line. If it's a fly ball, it's at the warning track. It's warm weather out here in LA. Let's go, Corey Seager. Number one, not even close. And then the next guys would be the popular guys, I guess. Mondesi, Bogarts, Goodrum. Those will be probably the chalkier ones. But I'm all in on Corey Seager, and I'm absolutely loving Carlos Correa as my other pivot.
So my top-rated guy is Willie Castro.
That's fine. He's going to be popular.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I know we haven't mentioned him yet. And then I'm not playing Mondesi at 50% on FanDuel. I'm just not going to do it.
What are we doing?
Just not going to do that at all. I love the Correa idea with the Brewer stacks. And Seager is going to be on a 6-game slate. That's as low owned as he's ever been on a 6-game slate.
It makes no sense. And honestly, I have no explanation for it. And my guess is that the rest
because everybody's going to play Bogarts.
Are they really that dumb?
Ooh, look at that! Bobby is en fuego today.
No, I mean seriously. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, are we comparing these guys as hitters? I had this conversation with Siege 3 years ago, and it started a tweet thread. Sorry to go off on the tangent for a minute, but I'm going to do it for a second. It started a tweet thread that I took off. I flew to Ibiza to visit my then girlfriend. Little kind of feels like a little brag there, but I'll take it. I flew out to Ibiza. I land, and there's thousands of messages on this Twitter thing, and Tommy G got involved and just went all over the place. And you guys are a bunch of idiots, and all the things he says, and Snowflake, and all the horrible thing about your mother, and all the horrible things that are no longer allowed, and that he's no longer allowed on Twitter for, all the things. So I went off on him, and then he tried to attack my family, which has led to a whole thing between Tommy G and I. But going back to the original conversation, Chris Bryant sucks. Never has been as good as anybody thought, and certainly sucks now. And Xander Bogaerts and Corey Seager, trying to compare the two of them as hitters. I mean, all right, let's compare, I don't know, Joe Schmo versus Mookie Betts. Xander Bogaerts is a good baseball player. Corey Seager is one of the best baseball players in the world. That's my take. And I know, come at me, guys. I
hate to be a pain in the neck, but don't we care like that one of them's going against like a better pitcher than the other one, or
are they? Who's going against a better pitcher? I'll tell you right now. I mean, 3 years ago, Alex Cobb and Mike Fiers were both like Cy Young considerate guys before the season started. So if we're going to do the flashback game, what I will say about Cobb, he does get a little bit wild and such and all this stuff. He gives up home runs. He's probably going to give up one tonight. He's only given up multi-home runs. And look, this is a weird thing to say, but you're trying to find reasons to fade people, right? He's only given up multi-home runs in a game once in his last 25 starts. Now, some of those starts were only like 3 innings because he gave up 3 walks and 2 hits and a home run and whatever. But I just think it's like if you're going to try to take a different angle on a small slate, use those stuff to your advantage maybe. And maybe don't go crazy with a Boston team that's just been awful. I mean, really awful.
They've been scoring.
In general, they've been awful. They've been one of the 10 worst They've actually been one of the 6 worst offenses playing in the second best hitters park. And not only that, they have all righties, and they're the second best righties hitters park. Now, on top of that, my man Verdugo has had a monster. He's been terrific. Yeah. Everybody else sucks. They all suck. Sorry. I know.
At outfield,
It's gonna be all Red Sox, yeah.
at outfield there's a misprice.
Who's the big price?
Oh, there's a big misprice.
Oh, is it Avisail?
Yeah.
Yeah. Avisail and Austin Hayes, I can make a pretty good argument for both those guys. So, Sheets, let's just do it again. Why are we messing around with this? We talked about this on, what was it, Monday or Tuesday? Whatever it is. The winning's been coming. I'm on fire a little bit. Why don't we just do the same freaking thing we've been doing? Let's spend down at outfield. Let's stack an infield team that we feel is stackable. So basically that means you have to forfeit, if you're going to stack the Red Sox, you have to forfeit one of your outfielder guys, which is going to be JD for the most part. That means if you're going to stack the Dodgers, you have to forfeit probably Betts. I don't even know if you need to go all the way down and out. I mean, Ryan Braun, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I don't think it makes sense to pay up for outfielders when you have guys who are going to hit home runs and hit doubles and do all kinds of things that are free. Why are we going to spend up just to get the same production? It just feels like we're trying to spend money.
Yeah, but you know what? I encourage you to try to spend the money. It's not as easy as you think.
So based on that, we absolutely
I'm going to tell you to spend up for it. Okay.
Based on that, we have to lock in Bueller or Lynn. Like one of those guys has to be in half of our lineups, or both of them have to be a combination of 75%.
Well, you know who you could spend up for and play like cheaper outfielders. You could spend up for infield. You could spend up for your Albies and Freeman.
There you go. That's it. That's the play. First of all, I really like Pablo Lopez as a pitcher, so this sucks. I hate doing this. I really do. I think Miami's bullpen is awful. I think Atlanta can get to any good – Atlanta's not the Dodgers, but, like, they can get to any good righty when they're on. It doesn't really matter entirely. But Lopez is pretty good. I totally agree with you. I think that's exactly –
So I will also say this, okay?
But can we do a cheap stack in the outfield and play those guys as – I don't know if I want to stack Atlanta. I think I just like the idea of playing those two guys at lower ownership.
Well, that's what I would say. I can use those as a one-off. You know what I mean? Like
that's great call.
Well, here's another guy, by the way, who and we've gone through, like, you know, at every position. There's one team, literally, and it wouldn't be difficult to figure it out. There's one team for whom we've not mentioned a single player. Okay.
I love the Royals. I'm sorry if we didn't get to that.
Royals? No, we mentioned Mondesi, we mentioned Soler, we mentioned whoever.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, if you want to spend up, we stopped playing Matt Olson a while ago for some reason.
Yeah, I totally think this is a sharp call. It's not an ideal matchup for him because you have actually a good strikeout pitcher with, you know, whatever. No, I mean, like, what's great about Matt Olson is you can put him up against – there's never going to be a matchup where you go, oh, well, Matt Olson is just never going to hit a home run in this matchup. It's like, no, Matt Olson is probably going to hit a home run in this matchup, but here's how it'll happen. No, I'm just kidding. Somehow the guy hits like 100, but he hits a home run every day, but whatever. That's okay. I totally agree with you. I think it's a really good idea. What do you think Bobby Dalbec's ownership is going to be? Because he's my favorite of every player on Boston, all things considered. I swear to God, him and JD Martinez are, to me, the guys I think who scored the most fantasy points tonight.
I think that, you know, he's not going to get as much ownership as some of the other guys. I think that JD is going to be the most popular now.
Yep. And there's just on DraftKings, the single eligible position for Dalbec is very tempting. Sheets, I'm on board with this slate all of a sudden. I'm really into it. I think we've got a lot of ways we can play with it. I think the answer is those spending down in different combinations in the outfield. And by the way, you've got a ton of options. I'll name some of them for you. Garcia, and the obvious ones are Garcia and Soler and Braun. They stand out like a sore thumb. They're incredible values. Got incredible values that are not known because these guys are such good values. And they're not that much better than these other guys. Matt Joyce is 2.3K. In Atlanta, a great hitter's park for lefty power against Ian Anderson, the young rookie. Who knows how that goes? By the way, sneaky stack if I'm making a million lineups, Miami. I also do like Anderson as a pitcher, but that's how these work on 6-game slates. And then you could play, you know, Austin Hayes will be another popular one. But what about if you play Austin Hayes and the other parts of the Baltimore outfield? Actually, Baltimore threw out a weird outfield today, but let's see. Well, you've got Urias at shortstop at the 2.1. You don't need to save all this money, but you can save there and spend way the hell up on your infield. Maybe spend up on one outfield position and use the value elsewhere.
Hey, another way you could spend down on outfield, and this is another team we haven't talked about yet, is Texas against the chalky opposing pitcher. You could put Willie Calhoun at 2 cents and
That's true. That's true.
And Gallo, whatever.
Yeah, if we want to keep losing money like that, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I played him in 14. I played him on 14-game slates. I played him in 10-game slates. I played him in 8-game slates. So you know what? Maybe it takes me to get a showdown slate for me to finally fade them. I don't know.
They were all the sharp guys' favorite plays for the last 2 months, and it just hasn't worked out.
They haven't gotten a hit at all. Not a
You have to get. It turns out you have to get more than 2 hits in a game for your stack to work.
It's annoying, right?
It's super crazy. Why would that be the case? And by the way, I just want to say the Dodgers are going to be chalky. They're the best stack of the night. It's not really that close. What's crazy to me is the run projection. I just want to say this is bizarre. I have no idea why the Dodgers aren't projected to score over 6 runs tonight. I would be shocked if the Dodgers don't score over 6 runs tonight. Unless Fiers does his no-hitter thing, and they literally – the Dodgers could put up their worst lineup possible, and it's still – their backups 8, 9 are better than everybody else's starting guys, except for Diego and Diego.
Wait, you disappeared off the face of the earth a little bit.
Oh, okay, well, whatever. I was just glamorously talking about the Dodgers. And I just want to point out that it's strange that you have the team with the highest total on the slate going back and forth with the Dodgers, ahead of Boston, by the way. And they're cheap, and people aren't really going to play that much of Kansas City. They'll play some Soler. They'll play some Mondesi. They'll play some Perez. They'll play some Merrifield maybe. They aren't going to play Franco, Lopez, and Gordon. Those guys are not only cheap, they're decent plays, and Hunter Dozier. So there you go. There's your plays. You stack the Dodgers with this KC weirdness, the weird part of KC, or you stack Houston against Lance Lynn. My hot takes for the day. And Atlanta with the overspending, but more as one-offs than two-offs.
See, this is really high-level stuff because you can get into my brain right now. So again, I'm really, really good at aggregating information and gauging takes and all this stuff. I have to figure out how much to overweight or underweight drunk loopy Bobby as opposed to, just kind of I can't win Bobby as opposed to I got to do this, Bobby. It's really, boy, this is really, really tough, man. So I got to think, does he really like the Dodgers? Does he really like the Dodgers as much as he's saying, or is he just just exuding confidence and just throwing out stuff out there? So I'm telling you, this is what really separates the men from the boys when it comes to what I do. So we're gonna find out, though. But I'll tell you this, I'm gonna play a couple. So we'll see what happens, and we'll see how it goes.
We're gonna win some money tonight. We're gonna keep it rolling. I'm in extreme confidence mode.
Yeah. Let's go, man. Somebody just came out of a tent or something, and you're out of the back window. What is that?
I'm here visiting. It's a little RV, little trailer thing at his house. We're down in San Diego. Yeah, we're down in San Diego. I got the man cave set up over here. And there's my
okay.
Yeah, so it's a nice little situation. Yeah, so that's what we're doing, and
don't walk out of there with COVID.
Hey, man, I'm not. No, we're all. Are you kidding? We have been us with these people have been the most locked down of anybody. I swear.
Okay.
We've done a good job. All right. Let's see. Getting weird on this slate. Yeah, get weird, John. This is what you should do on this kind of slate. Don't think we have anything else in chat, guys. Any QQs, we'll throw them out there. Yeah, I'm a little drunk. I'm a little loopy, but you know what? I'm having a great time. Life is good. We're making some money. Sheets, let's enjoy this, right?
Sounds good to me.
And then tomorrow,
we're going to do. I mean, it's a really, really involved NFL slate. So I want to take. We're going to do one on our own, and that will be refined by the time that we get the, to this one as well.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm ready for it. I couldn't be more stoked about the NFL weekend, guys. Really happy to end the season on a strong note. Let's crush it tonight. Let's crush it these next few days for baseball. We've got football coming up this weekend, like we just mentioned, and Yeah, guys, appreciate you guys all being in there. And please give us the like, the thumbs up, and subscribe and all that stuff. And we're doing this for free. So tell your friends, tell their friends. We're literally giving away money-making things, I think, every day because we're making money. So hopefully you guys are as well. Sheets, anything else before I close this up?
No, we're good.
Guys, thanks for everything. I'll see you at the top of the leaderboards tonight.